हे गाइस, वेलकम बैक टू आवर चैनल। आज की वीडियो में हम डिस्कस करेंगे अबाउट स्टूडेंट वीजास एंड व्हाई दे गेट रिजेक्टेड व्हेन यू आर अप्लाइंग फॉर देम इन कनाडा। अब एक डिस्क्लेमर, नॉट अबाउट स्टूडेंट वीजास, बट सिमरन आज नहीं है वीडियो के अंदर और उसका रीजन ये है दैट शी इज इन इंडिया। अगर आप इंस्टाग्राम पे फॉलो करते हो तो वी टोल्ड यू दैट देयर इज सम फैमिली रिलेटेड थिंग दैट शी इज डीलिंग विद इन इंडिया एंड या शी हैज टू बी देयर। 2 हफ्ते बाद सिमरन वापस आ जाएगी एंड वीडियोज में आना शुरू हो जाएगी। बट आज हम बात करेंगे अबाउट स्टूडेंट वीजास एंड द रीजन व्हाई इट्स इंपॉर्टेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाई दे गेट रिजेक्टेड इज बिकॉज जो हिट रेट है, जो एक्सेप्टेंस रेट है कनाडा का अबाउट स्टूडेंट वीजा, दैट वाज क्लोज टू 80-85% लास्ट ईयर 2019-2020 पैंडेमिक से पहले, एंड दैट हैज नाउ रिड्यूस्ड टू 50-55%। एंड द बिगेस्ट रीजन फॉर दैट इज दैट नंबर ऑफ एप्लीकेशंस in Canada have increased by 30-50%, which is a massive number. So ऐसा नहीं है कि जो कैनेडियंस हैं या फिर जो IRCC है वो स्टूडेंट्स को कम ले रही है, वो उतने ही ले रहे हैं। इनफैक्ट थोड़े से नंबर्स बड़े ही हैं, नंबर ऑफ स्टूडेंट एक्सेप्टेंसेज, बट द नंबर ऑफ पीपल अप्लाइंग आर a lot more, and therefore the things that we are going to discuss today are going to be very, very important. So let's get started. So as the number one reason why student visas get rejected is that it's not clear in the SOP and the application that you're going to return to the home country. और ये बहुत ज़्यादा important है. In fact, now you could say that, नवजोत और सिमरन ने तो कभी student visa apply करा नहीं, so why are they talking about this? And the biggest thing is that we did apply for student visa, not us, but for our family. Simran के sister-in-law and brother-in-law both are here. Brother-in-law is still relatively not that experienced, but sister-in-law was very experienced. She was working in India and she did apply for a diploma after doing her master's. So we do know a little bit about these, applications. And I personally, spent a lot of time in their SOPs and we did get it through. So वो context था थोड़ा सा, but the biggest reason why it gets rejected, like I said, is that it's not very clear in the SOP that you are going to return to the home country. अब ये counter intuitive है, थोड़ा सा stupid भी है, and in fact immigration minister also agreed that this reason is a little bit baseless because they actually want student visa holders to remain in Canada and contribute to the Canadian economy. But ये counterintuitive इसलिए है, the reason why they actually say that is that there are a lot of students who have in the past overstayed their student visa. For example, student visa जो है वो expire हो गया and then they are not able to return back to their countries. They just continue to work here on cash. तो ऐसे बहुत सारे cases आए हैं, and that's one of the reasons why they want your SOP to explicitly mention that you are gonna leave the country. सबसे पहली चीज़ जो इसमें बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होती है वो ये है कि जो आप स्किल्स डेवलप करके आए हो इंडिया में या जहाँ से भी आ रहे हो, एंड कनाडा में जो स्किल्स डेवलप करने वाले हो, फॉर एग्जांपल यू वर एन MBA और डूइंग मैनेजरियल स्टफ एंड नाउ यू वांट टू डू योर स्टडी वीजा इन अ स्पेसिफिक नीश लाइक डेटा साइंस. फॉर एग्जांपल आई वाज अ general manager in market research. I was doing a lot of data, but it was all management. Now if I want to come to Canada and I am doing a course in data science, that actually makes sense, but I also need to tell them that how this data science course is going to help me be a better data scientist or market researcher in India, not in Canada, in India. So it has to be made very, very clear in your SOP that you're going to return back to India and what we are going to do with the studies that and the skills that we acquire here when we go back home, whether it's starting a business or doing better in your job. That's up to you, but that's very, very important. अब guys, SOP के बारे में we actually made a pretty big video on how to apply for student visas after 30s. उसका लिंक जो है वो डिस्क्रिप्शन में होगा, उसके अंदर कहीं पे बीच में I have actually explained what things go into an SOP. SOP का फॉर्मेट भी उसमें डिस्कस करा हुआ है, so do check that video out. That's actually a very, very good video. The second biggest reason why student visas get rejected is choice of program. Now if you have done your masters in India and if you have gained about 3, 4, 5, 6 years of experience in India, यहाँ पे आने के बाद you cannot just say that you are doing a diploma. It's not just enough, right? You can't do a 1-year diploma after doing a 3-year masters or a 2-year masters. It just doesn't make sense. And even if it makes sense, you need to make sure that it actually complements, the education actually complements with your experience that you have had. अब बहुत सारे लोग बोलते हैं कि एज की वजह से मेरा नहीं हुआ, बहुत सारे लोग बोलते हैं मेरा स्टडी गैप बहुत ज़्यादा है, हमने बैचलर्स मास्टर्स जो है वो पहले करी थी, उसके बाद 8 साल का एक्सपीरियंस था, उसके बाद हम मास्टर्स कर रहे हैं कनाडा से या फिर डिप्लोमा कर रहे हैं. द प्रॉब्लम इज नॉट द स्टडी गैप. It is, sometimes it is, but it's not only the study gap, the problem is also course selection. So it's very important we select the right course. For example, जैसे मैंने बोला था, अगर मैं market researcher हूँ and I have done 8 years of market research in India, I have gained, my MBA and everything. If I come here, I can't do a diploma in market research. It just won't make sense. I'll have to do something that complements my market research experience, which could be data science, which is very much related and a lot more technical, and that would actually help me grow in my career, and therefore course selection becomes very, very important. And that's the second biggest reason why student visas get rejected. Before we proceed, a word from our sponsor Leap Scholar. अब guys, study abroad की जो planning होती है ना, वो काफी tedious होती है, काफी intensive हो सकती है, but it can be made simpler with our trusted online partners Leap Scholar. कोर्स सिलेक्शन से लेके कॉलेज शॉर्टलिस्टिंग, आईएलटीएस प्रिपरेशन, काउंसलिंग, ये सारी सर्विसेज जो हैं लीप स्कॉलर एक्चुअली डज एंड टू एंड. दे आर आल्सो द वर्ल्ड्स लार्जेस्ट एंड टू एंड स्टडी अब्रॉड प्लेटफॉर्म ट्रस्टेड बाय 2 lakh students. अब लीप स्कॉलर एक्चुअली प्रोवाइड्स एक्सपर्ट गाइडेंस ऑन अ लॉट ऑफ डिफरेंट सर्विसेज, जैसे कि there is a 5-minute quick counseling session if you need one, there is IELTS preparation, there is personalized course selection, there is college selection, there is visa application, there is financial planning, and there is also information about scholarships that's given by trusted advisors at Leap Scholar. They truly make study abroad planning fast and simple. Check out the website to know more. The link is in the description below. Now, the third biggest reason why student visas get rejected is lack of documentation. डॉक्यूमेंटेशन गाइस बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होती है. दिस इज अ वेरी स्टूपिड रीजन आई वुड से. अगर आपने फंड्स दिखाए हैं कि इतने फंड्स हम लेकर आ रहे हैं, उसकी डॉक्यूमेंटेशन अपलोड करो. इफ यू आर सेइंग दैट यू आर गोना रिटर्न बैक टू इंडिया बिकॉज यू हैव फैमिली, यू हैव हाउस, यू हैव इन्वेस्टमेंट्स हियर, एंड देयरफॉर you are if you are saying all that, make sure that you are also submitting documentation with that. At one time, for example, you have an accepted offer from a college and there was a person who said that I forgot to upload the acceptance letter. That's just not acceptable. So you can't do that, right? Yes, you may be given a chance to upload it again, but you can't take it for granted. So make sure that you're uploading all the documentation. Over documentation is not bad. Submit the documents. When in doubt, submit more. And make sure that the documents are trustworthy. Make sure they are not fraudulent. That's another thing that I would advise against doing, because if the documents are found to be fraudulent, you might have a ban. You might not be able to apply. And contrary to popular belief, अगर आपका student visa एक बार reject हुआ है, ये वीडियो के end में बात करेंगे हम, you can still apply again. So don't rob yourself from the opportunity of doing that by defrauding your documents. So make sure that you are doing proper documentation and uploading everything in a very structured manner. Number 4 reason why student visas get rejected is lack of opportunities in one's own country. For example, I am a lawyer in India. I'm not a lawyer in India, but if I was a lawyer in India and if I want to study law, or if I want to study paralegal, if I want to study something that's very relevant to a particular country, it's very difficult to take those skills, learn those skills, and then apply them to the Indian context. So it's very important that we actually have a very relevant program that we are applying to, and we need to make sure that that relevance is also not just in Canada but also outside of Canada, so that जो हमने पहले point discuss करा था पहले point के अंदर, point number 1 में, that actually becomes very relevant and they do believe that you are going to go back to India and settle there. So it's very important that we have, whatever field we are choosing, there are opportunities that we can use those skills, we can nurture those skills. Canada में रहना भी है उसके बाद भी, right? We still need to make sure that we are choosing those programs that are more relevant in India, and there are opportunities for that in India. And guys, the number 5 reason, and ये वीडियो की शुरुआत में भी डिस्कस करा था, is that there are just too many applications. There are 30 to 50% more applications now, which basically means अगर पहले 500,000 applications होती थी, उसमें 400,000 acceptances थी. Now the application size is almost 750,000 to 1 million, and उसकी वजह से जो acceptance rate है, that has reduced from 80 to 85% down to 50%, and that actually is a bigger reason why we should be taking care of the other 4 points that were discussed in this video. It's really, really important that we do that. Otherwise, even if our application is really good, there are some very bright people who do deserve to come here on study permit. They do deserve to come here on PR as well, but because the PR applications are not being processed, the scores are very high, there are just more people who are applying. So it's very important that we actually talk about the 4 points really, really clearly in our application. And if you are able to nail the 4 things that we just discussed, you can actually beat the competition, and the chances of getting an accepted student visa application are astronomically higher for you. And again, I'll say that जो SOP हमने डिस्कस करा था, do make sure that you are going through that video. उसके जो डिस्क्रिप्शन में लिंक मैं डाल दूंगा उस वीडियो का. And we actually discuss the entire end-to-end process of how to write an SOP, क्या structure होना चाहिए. That's a really good video that we made, I think 6 or 7 months back. So do watch that video and let us know in the comments if there are any other reasons that you feel that we did not discuss, so that other people who are watching the comment section are able to take advantage of that. अच्छा, अभी वीडियो खत्म नहीं हुई है. एक क्वेश्चन जो बहुत बार आता है कि मेरा स्टूडेंट वीज़ा रिजेक्ट हो गया, क्या मैं फिर से अप्लाई कर सकता हूँ? एब्सोल्युटली यू कैन अप्लाई अगेन. अगर आपने फ्रॉड नहीं करा, रीज़न जानना बहुत ज़रूरी है. सो नंबर वन थिंग दैट यू नीड टू डू इफ योर स्टूडेंट वीज़ा एप्लीकेशन गॉट रिजेक्टेड इज अंडरस्टैंड द रीज़न. ऑर्डर GCMS नोट्स, अंडरस्टैंड द रीज़न फॉर रिजेक्शन, एंड उसके बाद ट्राई टू सॉल्व दैट. अगर द प्रॉब्लम इज दैट they are not convinced that your whatever course you have selected is something that's gonna advance you, or they're not convinced that you are gonna leave the country, make sure that you understand where you lagged. Do not just blame the system. Make sure that you are 100% sure that you did not do anything wrong, and correct that, and then reapply. It's not very difficult. You can reapply once, twice, thrice. I have seen people with 5 visa rejections and still get it in the 6th time. You just need to make sure that you are doing all the right things. That's all we have for today. I hope you liked this video. अगर वीडियो बढ़िया लगी तो प्लीज लाइक करके जाना, and if you have not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe to the channel. मिलते हैं अगली वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए बाय बाय.